Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and in this case going through some potential EDC bags. This is something a friend of mine was asking about. He was trying out different bags and not quite happy, so he started looking to some of these smaller Maxpedition type of bags, the VersaPack, and some of these are not Maxpedition. This is actually Mil-Tec, which is great value. It's very good stuff for the money. So both of these Mil-Tec, not sure exactly what model it is. This would be somewhat similar to the Maxpeditions one, probably borrowing some suggestions here and there. This one seems to be more straightforward, small pack, just with the sling, just one single sling instead of having a couple straps. But one of the things that I ended up realizing is that, first of all, none of these are very big. So stuff like carrying an actual laptop is out of the question. You want to have a bigger bag for that sort of thing. Now, that being said, these are usually more of the tactical bug out thing going on. Even then, there's things that don't quite, I get it. Some people find these to be super useful. I gave it a go, see what I could get away with this one. For example, here I have a pouch that looks to be kind of like a dump bag, for magazines, and I have a go bag from the British Armed Forces, which has a hole there for putting dropping the magazines. This though would require you opening it and using this as a dump pouch, which may well be the case. Now, other than that, it really hasn't got a much more practical use. Very little will fit in that little bag. You have these side pouches. I was talking with my friend about how some of these have so many pouches all over the place, which is really not all that practical. In some cases it is. For example, here, this would be like a pouch shaped for like a flash bag, I guess. That would be the more a similar size comparison, but you could get a Baofeng radio in there like this one. By the way, lots of videos on the war in Ukraine, people using Baofengs like these, or some of the even more cheaper models, the more basic one. But a lot of these things very useful in that case, as we talked about so many times, right? But a radio here, you could have it and it would be handy enough. Now, for example, there's things that don't quite add up. For example, in this other pouch, which, immediately the first thing I was thinking about was I could put a magazine in there, and it has like two spaces, so I could put one here, but another one, it just wouldn't fit. Even with one magazine in place, I couldn't really fit another one and have this close over, so it's not a double mag pouch. That's why I don't think it really makes all that sense to have two of these. But maybe if you have something smaller, I guess you could have a pack of gum and something else, or this bigger flashlight. This large flashlight would fit there quite nicely. And yes, all of these pouches inside and so on. You have one here, you have another one. But how many small things do you need to carry around? Anyway, even with something like, okay, I have my tactical little backpack, right? My go bag, which I talked about this concept so many times. You just want something small for maybe a gun, cash, some precious metals, your hardware Bitcoin wallet, and little else, ID and just the basic stuff. All of that would fit in here quite nicely. So it would work for that, and it's sturdy, well-made stuff. And it has this sling format, which a lot of people like, and I'm a fan of it as well. It's not a bad idea, but I find that it's kind of limited, especially when you compare it with something like this, which is really not all that different in terms of how big it is, but the way in which the volume is presented here in a more straightforward manner, just a square pack with a couple pouches on the outside. I find this to be a lot more useful. For example, here, as I was saying before, this is a tactically kind of bag, right? But I cannot even fit my Glock knife in here, right? No matter what pocket I pick, even the largest one, it just, it's not even close. It's just not going to be fitting, even though this is a pretty lightweight, slim, and super efficient survival knife. Wouldn't fit in that pack. Now here, it would. And I still have some pockets here on the outside for, passport, tickets, anything I want to have handy. There, it would fit here. I have this other pocket as well for small, little things that I want to keep handy. and maybe you will have a first aid kit here on the outside, and this our pocket for some of the other stuff you want to keep within easy reach. Now on the main compartment, here is where I find it to be a lot more useful, because as compact as this is, I can fit quite a bit in there. I have room for a shemag scarf, right? For keeping, when it's a little bit colder out there, you can use that. I have room for a book, in this case my book, which by the way, thanks for all the people that dropped by and left the review on Amazon. Already over 1,000 reviews. Thanks, that was a goal. Thank you very much for that, guys. Really appreciate that. As I was saying before, I couldn't even fit my knife, my Glock knife here. There, no problem. I have room for a jacket, a rain jacket, folding it. And in terms of knife, I'm even keeping my own Aitor knife, which is quite big, even a little bit bigger than the Glock knife in terms of how long it is, right? And it still fits in here. So I get a decent, very decent sized blade in a rather compact bag. So, check this out. It just fits great. And in the other one, I couldn't even fit the Glock knife. Here, the Glock knife simply disappears in there. Nothing, that's very efficient use of space. Room for a full bottle of water here, nowhere to, I would need a separate pouch for that. I'm actually thinking of getting a pouch for this one on the side. This would mean even more room. And I have room for something that my friend was asking about, having room for a tablet fitting in there, right? Yeah, sure, this is not something that's gonna be fitting a full-size laptop nowhere, it's not even close, because this thing is huge, but something for traveling to keep it light. A tablet like this, with its own case, which is gonna be protecting it nicely, fits in there quite well. So this is quite handy for me. I think this is a good idea, a good way to go. Again, I would appreciate a pouch there for a water bottle. I find that when you're out and about and doing some traveling, and especially when walking around a lot, jumping into planes or trains and moving around, you want to have a bottle of water handy. This is a little bit larger because it has this system that's kind of very lots of volume in that stuff. Even this fits, but a separate pouch for the side, that would make a lot of sense. Anyway, guys, there's a few, or even if you want to set this up as a bug out bag or go bag, you can even put a decently sized tool in here. I actually used this one recently for bending the rowing machine, the water rowing machine that I'm using lately, which had one of the parts was got a hit or something, it was bent. I use this for bending a very nice size, a very pretty big chunk of metal. No problem with that. Using this, bending it nicely. So this is a very decent tool. Knife, this stuff, any of these two would fit in there without an issue. So this is, I feel, a very decent EDC pack, or a very decent go bag or VIP bag for your basic documents and important papers and emergency cash, or even a gun that you want to keep in there. I'll leave the link below. If I find it, I'll leave the link for whatever other brand and somewhat using the same form factor, which I find to be pretty nice. You even have room here for, if you want to have your radio, you have more than enough loops and hooks over here. This is for a smaller cell phone, I think, but here you can just hook your radio and you would keep it handy there as well. So more than enough hooks, loops, and attachments all over the place. Take care, folks. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.